Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Save and Submit. I'm your host, Anastacia.
And Isla, and today we're talking about CAS, or more actively known as Creativity, Action, and Service.
So, what those three things entail is that for anything creativity related, it can be stuff like the arts, drama, music, fine arts, etc. Activity is anything that gets you moving, and
For
services.
example, sports such as rugby, golf, and these all things to kind of get your body moving.
Yes, and then service is anything you do to help your community and give back.
Yeah. So, what we're going to be discussing is why we do CAS. Like, why exactly? Because you could always just go through the entirety of the DP curriculum without doing any CAS, but you wouldn't really be able to graduate. So, why do the teachers really get you active and want you to do CAS? What are some examples in CAS that you can do in your community or that have happened in our community? And lastly, we'll go over kind of what makes CAS quite special in a way, because CAS kind of brings a lot of people together, but we can go more into that at the end.
Yes. So, starting off, why do we do CAS? In your personal opinion, Isla, why do you believe we do CAS? And then I'll give you mine.
I think personally we do CAS because, as I said, we can go through the entirety of the DP curriculum and not do any CAS, but that would kind of leave us just focusing on our academics and nothing else really. Because while we can maybe help out every now and then, you're not really doing anything that can influence not only you but the people around you. So by kind of doing CAS, you kind of are able to give back to the people who have supported you and just be like as a thank you.
Mhm. I agree. I think it's all about giving back, not only to your community, but also to yourself and allowing for that time for you to do the things that you want and still have it like influence your DP and it just like creates like a good balance, I think, because without CAS, as you said, it would be very focused on solely academics. And although the IB is a very academically rigorous program, it also like focuses a lot on balance and
Yeah.
like the IB learner profiles, for example, balance is a huge one of them. And I think CAS really implements that.
Yeah, I definitely agree. CAS kind of you could you could just do nothing and really get nothing out of it, but if you do something, you can get something.
Exactly. So relating to this though, um, as a background information, you need 9 CAS and a
At
project
least. Yeah.
at least. And those 3 CAS experiences have to have 9 CAS experiences have to have 3 from each of the strands. So why do you think that there is the balance between the three? Why couldn't I do 5 activity and then 2 of the others?
Well, I feel like you cannot, let's say you do five activity as you use as an example.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, that kind of shows that you're quite into like getting yourself moving, but by only doing like, let's say one service and one creativity, you're not really exploring like the other aspects. Because as you said, it's all about balance. You could eat as long as you, I feel like as long as you meet those three criteria, you're kind of showing that like, hey, I can do this. I can help people do a beach cleanup. I could, I don't know, like I could learn a new art medium. It's
Mm-hmm.
all about trying to find these new aspects of life that you couldn't of didn't really want to explore more. Because if you have the opportunity to, just try it. You don't have to like it, but let's say you want to try rock climbing, but you don't really know want to. You just give it a go, and if you like it, great. But if you don't need to try again. It's all about these new experiences, and you just kind of get to explore more.
Exactly. Because I fully agree with you. Um, because as I said, it is all about balance, and as you agreed, it's everything in the IB is very focused on making sure that students aim to have a balanced style in their life. And I
Yeah.
think that CAS really implements that because there is the mandatory at least three of each, so that you get that equal experience throughout e- all times of CAS. And I think that in general, having three just allows for you to try out new things. And I think, for example, I did things that I wouldn't normally think about doing. For example, for my activity, one of them is that I picked up running. I before was not a runner, hated it with all my being, but I decided that this would be a good opportunity to try something new and try something different. And it turned out, like, for me, for personally, I really enjoyed it. And I think that the reason for having those three is the for people like me, you can try new things that before you were like almost hated.
I still don't like running though.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really ironic considering the fact that I play rugby, which I can
Mhm.
count towards my action, and rugby is running pretty much for an hour,
Mhm.
and I still choose to do it.
Yeah, especially your
And but
position.
especially my position, for those of you who do not know, I play scrum half, which pretty much means I am running for an hour, non-stop.
Mhm.
But yeah, that's part of the game, and you love it, because
Exactly.
I feel like it can. While it might seem daunting to like pick up a new activity, I think that's why you set goals for yourself.
Mhm.
Because while it seems daunting, you can kind of go, oh, but what if I try this for, let's say, as you gave an example for running, I want to improve my speed for, let's say, a 5K.
Mhm.
You don't need to do it in like 15 minutes.
Mhm.
But let's say you try
Exactly.
and get it going for like I want to improve my speed from doing a 30-minute 5K to a 25-minute 5K. You're kind of giving yourself a bit of like a blanket, kind of going, I want to reach this goal, and you have something that can keep you moving.
Mhm. Yeah.
Because rather than just saying, I want to do this in this time, you see how far you already are and what else you still need to do to reach that goal.
Mhm. I think for CAS, it's all about being attainable,
Yeah.
and setting those goals just genuinely makes it feel as though it is 100% more attainable than what it could have been.
Yeah. Because there have definitely been times where you kind of set a goal and you're kind of going, can I do that? And if you
Mhm.
have that moment of like, oh, can I actually do that? Then you kind of have to sit back and think, is this actually an attainable goal? Rather than you just saying, I want to go run like a 20-minute 5K when you are only when you can run it in about 40 minutes. That's not very attainable, especially if you give yourself a time frame of like a month. That would only really be more attainable if you run consistently. But if you run consistently, you're going to burn out, and you kind of need to think realistically. If I were to do this every day, will I be happy, or will I just make myself miserable and dislike it more?
Exactly, because like we said, at the end of the day, it's all about balance.
Yeah. So, Anastasia, we've talked quite a bit about action. What about your other CAS activities?
Well, for creativity, I've been really involved in school productions.
Yeah.
And I always put like for example doing the lights, which is like my thing, designing lights and making sure that the stage is well lit and everything is to the director's approval and liking. That
Yeah.
is one of my main ones. Another one I did is that I started an art Instagram account because I very much enjoy art and I enjoy drawing. And I thought that maybe I could turn this into CAS, and because CAS isn't all about trying new things, it's also about trying things you do like and just enhancing them a bit more. And I think like pushing my art out there kind of like was almost stepping outside my comfort zone because I always kind of kept it to myself. Um, and I also, back to productions, I joined a production for High School Musical in grade 11. So those are some examples of like my creativity. What about you?
Well, like you, I do quite a lot of the performing arts. I'm often the stage manager. So, for example, our school did a production of Matilda and Mary Poppins, and both times I was the stage manager, meaning that I was pretty much keeping the director on track with what needed to be happening. And I was also in charge of what was happening on stage and making sure that the people backstage not only knew what they were doing, but the people in the wings kind of helped understand. But like when you kind of see all the production, it's like, oh, yes, it's going right.
Mm-hmm.
But I've also, like you said, I've explored my skills because I've been sewing a dress, which
Mm-hmm.
is in like a 1950s style, and it was made from a 1950s pattern. So my life has just been surrounded by dots and dashes. If you know, you know. And it's just kind of going because the dots and dashes go together, and it's really hard because all the paper's falling apart. But
Mm-hmm.
as it's getting there. It's the dress, the top of the dress is done, the bottom of the dress is done. All it really
Mm-hmm.
needs is for them to go together and for me to be able to actually fit into
Yeah.
it, which is the main part because I have some autonomy that makes it quite hard.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm really enjoying it. I've sewn quite a bit. I've made a few projects in the past because I've made a medieval dress as well in grade 10, and that's kind of what
Mm-hmm.
started my interest in sewing. So it's all about deepening your skills.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So we've mentioned the first two. What about what I believe is kind of the most daunting one, and that's
Service.
service. So what have you done?
Service is so hard. Oh, service. What I do. Oh God. So service, I kind of thought, okay, what do I enjoy doing regarding everything? But I somehow managed to pull it out the bag and do quite a few in service.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the ones is helping out with the grade 10 transition day into DP.
Mm-hmm.
So every year, as the new 10th graders finish the MYP program, they have a day where they come in to DP and they just kind of see what it's about. So was at the DP history store, and I was pretty much telling them this is what it's about. And this type of service kind of helps lower the fear of like what they might not know and understand about DP, and you kind of quell any worries and kind of going, don't worry, it's not that bad.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've also helped out handing out rugby kits,
Mm-hmm.
which like obviously at the start of every season of a game or sport, you kind of have to go, here is your rugby kit. Please wash it.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have family friends who every year they set up like this Christmas like village. And so
Mm-hmm.
this year I can't, I'll go over and I'll help you out. So I was there for a few hours and I was helping them kind of lay out all these decorations and create like this little story in
Yeah.
the village.
Mm-hmm.
So, what about you? What services have you done?
Well, as many people may know, if you know me personally, I very much so enjoy golf. That is like my thing, much how Isla's thing is rugby, golf is mine. Um, so every year in Abu Dhabi, there is the HSBC Championship. And you can go there and volunteer to help out the golfers, for example, being a marshal and keeping the crowds quiet, being a walking scorer, being a ball marker, etc., etc. So I volunteered as a walking marshal for all 4 days of the competition. So that meant every single day I would walk around all 18 holes with the group I was with, and usually. If it was a bigger crowd, I would have to work tirelessly with my other volunteers. There's about, I think, on average, because I didn't have huge groups, on average, it was about 3 to 4 other marshals, which is the average. but if you have a bigger group, you'll have upwards of like 9. But we had to make sure the crowd was quiet, and especially because HSBC is a huge golf tournament here. Um, it's like free tickets if you have a HSBC credit card, or if you're wearing red on Saturday, it's free tickets. There's a lot of options for people to come in and enjoy. So, and some people obviously, they're just coming for the experience, so they don't really understand the etiquette of golf, and that's fine. Obviously, come enjoy, but you just have to make sure to keep the crowd quiet and to just work with the golfers and not against them. Another thing I did relating to golf was I helped out by volunteer coaching the younger years. We had from a grade 1 being our youngest and a grade 10 being our oldest. And I would go with them to Yas Links or Yas Acres, depending on the day. And I would just make sure that everyone was being safe. Nobody was hitting each other with golf clubs. You'd be surprised how many times it happened with little years. Um, or just
I'm
making
not
sure
surprised.
that they're confident in their abilities in golf. And another thing I did was I helped out with a project in the library. It was called Sit Stay Read, and I helped a dyslexic student raise his lexile and also just become more confident in reading, because there was this initiative where they had a goal and it was working towards reading for a dog, and that really pushed them. And so I think those are some good experiences that I did. But now, in general, not maybe what we did, what are some general ideas you have if somebody is struggling with any of the three strands?
Beach cleanups,
Ooh.
quite literally, is one of the not the easiest, but if you're offered to do a beach cleanup
Mm-hmm.
as an action, as a
Service.
service,
Yeah.
do it.
Mm-hmm.
They're just giving it
It's
out for free,
yeah,
quite
it's very
literally here.
accessible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And every October they do a pink run in honor of breast cancer run. They often
Mm-hmm.
do it at Zide Sports City. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like different kilometers. I can't remember. I think it's a
Mm-hmm.
5K, and they probably also have longer ones as well.
Yeah,
I'll
I
need to
think so.
research into that a bit more. But you go down and you do run and you raise money for breast cancer research and awareness. So
Mm-hmm.
that's a very good
Call.
example we could do.
Mm-hmm.
There's also just look around in your community.
Yeah.
Sometimes the teachers will ask you for help, which is what happened with me with one of my experiences, because I chose one of our upcoming school performances and I was able to put that down as CAS because I was helping them give ideas and research. So a
Mm-hmm.
lot of the times teachers will come to you and be like, "Hey, could you do this?" Where it's like it's not manual, but it's pretty much, "Could you write this up for me? And I can put this down for CAS because you are actively helping those in your."
Mm, exactly. I think an example of a really good, like, creativity is just to look around in your school's drama area, because
Yeah,
there's always something going on. There's always something that is about to be put on or is already being put on, and you can work as front of house or you can just work as backstage. Even if you're not technical about it, you can just work as backstage and help make sure little kids are not going on the stage when they're not meant to be going on the stage, or making
that
sure
is
that they hit
much
their
harder
cues
than
on
you guys.
time.
That is much harder than you guys think.
Exactly.
But
So,
honestly, the worst thing you can do is not ask. If you ask,
exactly.
teachers are more than willing to be like, "Oh yeah, could you do this?" or
Exactly.
something, because they're always more than happy to help if you come forth and ask.
hmm The worst thing you can do is just stay still, basically. You're not actively looking, because just if you look around you, there's bound to be plentiful opportunities, whether that be in your own personal communities, like for example, in Isla's rugby community or in my golf community, there's always bound to be opportunities, not even in school. It can be outside of school or it can be personal to you. Just find something that you want to either improve or you want to try.
Yeah. Is that everything?
I believe it is.
Neat. Right. Thank you for listening to this episode of Save and Submit. This was Cass, and I'm Isla.
And I'm Anastasia, and until next time.
Peace.